Morning. Hi guys, hope you're all well. Right, this is my first of over the upcoming time of when I do them of looking at a board game. Obviously, as a kid, we didn't have all the. Think of the kids in the 90s onwards; they always had something like the computers and to play on it, even from the Commodores and the Spectrums in the 80s and 90s through to obviously nowadays all the kids are playing on the smartphones, all the kids are playing on their tablets. I mean, as a child of the 60s, 70s, obviously we didn't have that. We didn't have that ability to do that sort of thing. So board games was what we were really into. Um, I've always loved board games. I used to play with my mates, obviously with my family. I think the first game we ever really played that sticks in my memory is we actually bought a game of Monopoly. We weren't a rich family. I think there was seven of us at home in the 60s. We moved into a little semi-detached, and the first game I ever remember playing was Monopoly, which we bought. We bought for like mail order. We didn't go to a shop and buy it, and I think we probably bought it so much a week as well because, as I said, we were very poor. And I just remember the game turning up, and I think the first game that we played as a family when we sort of played over a few days. I mean, it just seemed to last forever, if I remember rightly. It might be my mind, obviously, at the time. It was probably 7 or 8, something like that. So, yeah, Monopoly obviously was the original and we ever played as a family. And from then, we did play lots of games. And obviously, when with my mates from school, we used to play lots and lots of things. Um, Funnily enough, the game I'm going to look at today actually came out in 1975. So, to be honest with you, by that time, I was working. I'd started work. So, board game. I'd found other interests by the time I was 16. I've always had other interests all my life, but by the time I was 16, earning money, obviously other things came into my life. So this game in 1975, I wouldn't have actually played as a kid anyway, and the only time I actually played it was quite recently. But again, it's a game where I've not played with my kids. We used to have game nights when my kids were little, and again, it wasn't a game I played with them. We do have game nights now, and the problem now is there's usually 5 or 6 of us play when we have a get together every couple of months, and I usually pick an old board game, retro board game. Some go down well, some don't. And the trouble with this game is it's only 2 to 4 players, so obviously there's 5 or 6 of you. I mean, the probably, I mean, looking at it, there are probably ways to make it. You can sort of play. I'll show you in a little bit. I'll show just all the part. I'm not going to play through. I'll show you the bits and pieces you get with it. But it's uh, it's a game I've never played with my family, so it's quite interesting and just to look at it. Right, get on with it then. What it is, we're going to look at Bermuda Triangle, the game of vanishing ships. Now, most of you might have seen this. I mean, there's a lovely ad on YouTube, an advert for it, a 20, 30-second advert, which is quite good. The Bermuda Triangle, where dozens of ships and planes have disappeared without explanation, is the setting for this suspenseful game. Sinister mystery cloud hovers, weaves, and sweeps, swallowing up your ships as it passes. Can you make it home with your cargo, or will your fleet become just one more victim in the Bermuda Triangle? So, yeah, I mean, it's got the classic voiceover on the advert as well. A guy who did a lot of voiceovers at that time in the 70s. Very similar to what you get now. Very, very sinister, deep voiceover. 2 to 4, 8 to adult, 2 to 4 players. Big box, but don't forget in those days they had to have big boxes because the boards always came. I've got them all here, which you'll see in a minute. Always came in two, so you always needed a big box to get the board in, even though there's usually a lot of wasted space in the box. So obviously these days a good board can be made into 4 or different machinations. So there's no need for such a massive box these days, although occasionally you may see one. Right. Now I just get I want to view what I'll do, I'll just move the camera down to show the most of the board and then just talk you through it. And if you see my big belly, don't worry too much about it. Let me just try and get an angle so you can see the board itself. All the edges there. This is north, which is very important to the game. You have various ports. That's for bananas. This is all the obviously supposed Bermuda Triangle area. It's obviously Florida, Florida there, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. So this is all the area. There's another port, oil, port for timber, port for sugar, and the sugar port is the home port as well. If you notice, the boats are going a certain way, so you can only go around this game by one. You can't turn around and go the opposite way, so you are limited. Some people have compared it to frustration or a type of Ludo. So yeah, very base. They're the basic games that have been adapted for this. Right, let's just have a quick look at a couple of the bits. These are the boats. You get 4 boats, obviously depending on how many players there is, how many boats you get. So you get up to 4 of each colour. And you've got a little magnet on the top there, which is very important for the game. So these boats, simple, easy, solid things, and they're not going to break very easily. So you get 4 of those. It's only 2 players, obviously you'd only get 2 of each, I think. And obviously, I'm not going to go in great depth of the rules. I mean, the rule booklet is quite simple. It's not a massive booklet. How many pages? So you got 12 pages. The only complicated looking bit is when they're explaining the this item, which is the spinner, which I'll show you in a minute. But it's not. It's quite simple. It's an easy game for you to get into and understand. Right, there's your little boats, which actually move around the thing. They actually go in the ports. That's the timber port there. Port there. You can put, so you have 1 boat in each, I believe, to start the game, and you carry on from there. The next thing we've got is a little, to win the game, there's 2 ways of winning the game. All these ports, bananas, oil, etc., all have little cards in them, which will be turned over, and obviously depending on what you pull out, which card is on top, if you get there first, you get the various amounts that are on the cards. So they vary, and the whole idea of the game is actually to collect £350,000. It's in pounds, this one, not dollars by the looks of it. Yep, they're all in pounds. So you've got sugar. That's the home port. You get a bonus going back to your home port. So if you do a circuit of the game and get back to your home port, you get bonus money there. Again, different amounts. You've got oil. So that one, timber. And of course, you've got to have bananas. So, as I say, as you go around the board, picking up these things, you get the various amounts. If you get to 350 grand, then you can win the game by getting back to your home port and win the game. The other way of winning the game again is by losing. You can lose all your ships, but you can still win. So this is a great little game where even if you lose everything, as you dice, just 1 dice to play the game. Even if you lose everything, you can actually still win the game if you've got enough money. So that's good. That's good. Let's just shove the little bolts out of the way. No, that's the next little thing. This is the thing. This is the thing. The magic. This is the piece of magic. This is the cloud, and this is a little base for it. And there's a little red circle in the middle, and that's where the cloud always starts. There's a little pointers there that points to this little dot in the middle. And when you move, there's a notch. Yeah, there's a notch in the top that always must point north. So whoever takes control of moving this thing's got to have a steady hand. You can't like this, because you'll ruin the game. And don't be knocking the board or anything, so it is a little bit fiddly. But Simon Page, if young kids were playing and messing about, it might not be the same. There's all little letters, and as I showed you before, these letters are relevant to how you swivel the cloud on its base. So you would hold it in the middle and swivel it round. Obviously, while you're playing the game, this thing moves around the board, and obviously, if your boat's in the way, I'll show you that. I'll show you that in a minute. Horrible things could happen. Your boat could disappear, etc. To move your cloud, you have a spinner. So when every player's had the go, you just literally do the spinner and follow the direction and the count on the spinner. These little dots are right to the edges. If the cloud ever goes towards the edge and you can't go any further, then it's just moved back to the middle. But before you do so, obviously, while you've been going around with this, you've got your boats, obviously, in various places trying to get to the ports and escape. You can rest in a port, but you've only got, you've got to be careful. You can't have more than certain items. People can block ports, etc. So it makes it, so if this cloud is on its way to you and you start to, and you think, oh, get out of the way, it could be up there, it could be up there. I mean, somewhere like that, you might be safe. But if you go right to the edge, for instance, there, he's there, go right to the edge, there, and you make a certain move. Look, shit, and there's a little click there, so you know that your ship's been Bermuda Triangle. There was a little click. I don't know if you heard it, but so you go, oh no. So anyway, obviously that thing, the next go, if it has to move north, for instance, it's the last dot, so you won't be able to do it. So you'd actually pick it up, and obviously, look, there you go. That the magic that ship would then be out of the game. So basically, that's it. It's a little gimmicky. As I say, a careful hand. You've got to have a nice flat board as well. If you haven't got a flat board, I think you're in a little bit of trouble. So, but that's the fun part of the game. And obviously, as you're going round, you can send players back to the home port by landing on them. You can't actually, when you're moving, you can't actually move under the clouds. So your turn would have to end. If you're there, say the cloud's there, and you throw a 6, you can't move under it. So you're just going to stay where you are. So you've lost your move, and obviously depending where that cloud moves, then depends whether you can go. So obviously other people could be collecting money. Your cloud could be way over here. Other people collecting money over here, and you're obviously can't do a thing about it. As I said, there's 2 ways to win. 350,000. You don't have to do 350,000. You want a quicker game, you can, say 200,000 or 150,000. And obviously, as I said, if this little beauty here collects, nicks all your ships, obviously you might be in the position where you have collected enough money to win. So that's nice. You might lose all your ships, but you still won the game. So, I mean, that's a nice little trick for me. So, yeah, I mean, it's good fun. I mean, I hope you can see that from this little, I'm not going to play these games, but just gives you an idea of what it is. And I mean, it's, let me just get me back on camera there. It is, yeah, I mean, it is good fun. I would say it's a bit fiddly, but a lot of games are fiddly. I mean, where there's a gimmick in a lot of these board games, they are fiddly. I mean, this is 44 years old now. I mean, what can you say? It's still, to me, it still stands the test of time. MB Games were going since 1860. 1860 for the MB Games first started. And it was only in 1984, I think it was, that Hasbro took over MB Games, and obviously by 1991, MB Games as a label, as a thing, it just became Hasbro. So Hasbro release things now under their own guise, obviously. But 1860, I mean, I think I've got a game somewhere in my thing from the 1920s, 30s. But obviously, if you find any 1860 games, give us a shout. I'm sure they're worth a fortune. I've got a couple of these on the website at the moment. So, and the thing about price is, with all these old games, I've had people before where they bought it. Oh, it was only so. It depends when you buy them and the availability. It's supply and demand with all these old games. I mean, there's certain games I've got now that I've not seen. It's only me that's got them, or I've seen them somewhere, but they're like 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 quid, etc. So this can vary. I mean, you can pick this up for a tenner, but sometimes a year, if demand exceeds supply, you could be paying 30, 40 pounds anyway. So I always keep I always try and keep my prices as competitive as I can on games and DVDs. Obviously, I always try and match, if not better, the big guys who we know who they are. So always give me a chance. I mean, even my price is a little bit higher than someone else. Just give us a shout, give us an email, and I might be able to match it, or even get you a better price at somewhere else. I'm not, I'll point you in the right direction. So yeah, I mean, that's a quick look at the first one. I hope it was entertaining. Give us a follow at Twitter at nostalgia_movie. Obviously, my website is on Movie Game Nostalgia. Google that, you'll find that with all my DVDs, etc. Also, I've got a few of these, obviously, DVD. Losing track of what I've got now, of these videos on YouTube of various. Obviously, I do more film reviews, etc., and box set reviews, but I'll be doing one of these every week, I think, of a game I've got here, and some new, some old. I mean, there'll be some. I do modern games as well, which obviously it's not all the retro old games. So obviously, Bernard Deneen. If you look at Bernard Deneen, you'll find my my YouTube channel there with the bits and bobs I've done already. It's early days. If you can subscribe to that and give us a thumbs up. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook. I'm at Bernard Deneen. There's a link to Movie Game Nostalgia. So anyway, that's that done. I mean, if we can just get a games night with just 4 of us, I'll definitely be playing this with other people. And say it's not so much fun having a look on your own and having a play on your own. But hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back soon. The next thing I'll be doing is a new movie at these new movies at the cinema review, which on Wednesday the 7th of August for stuff that's coming out this week. So I'll be doing that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and all the best, and hope to see you soon. Bye.